COVID 19 has made its way into the United States, and people are isolated at home practicing social distancing. How is this affecting everyone?
Tune in as we explore how this pandemic is impacting our lives and the lives of others. I'm Alex.
I'm Anthony, and this is 6 Feet Away.
Welcome to the social distancing show where we're usually more, but never less than 6 feet away.
I'd like to say that we are greater than 6 feet away. In fact, I think, okay, I'm gonna do some quick math here, real quick. Hold on. Let me just Google search how many feet are in 1 mile? Who does that math, right?
I'm
Okay,
pretty
so
sure there are people that know this. They're like yelling at us. It's 3,256.
dude, it was close. It's 5,280. It's close,
Uh,
right? Okay, hold
I
on.
had to cheat in there.
So we're gonna do some quick math then. Okay, so we're gonna do 5,280, and what's the distance? 180 miles, you think? About
Yeah.
180 miles. All right, let's do the math. Let's just do the math. Listen, we want to be a good role model for these people and just show them that we're practicing safe social distancing. 950,400 feet. Bam! Get off me.
Definitely more than 6 feet away.
I think so. But for all intents and purposes, this is the show. 6 feet away. Why the name, Alex? Why we choose 6 feet away?
So the CDC here in the United States says even if you go out in public, try to stay 6 feet away from people. And we are so tired of being by ourselves in our homes that we need to talk to each other. And we are not in the same room, and we are definitely maintaining 6 feet away. Um, COVID is pretty crazy right now going around the world.
It's insane.
Markets are pretty crazy, job losses, but we're still here. Um, I know I work in the live and event industry, and you work for Apple, and it's impacting us very differently. I know everyone is kind of feeling the hit a little bit differently. We just kind of want to create an outlet where we can explore those feelings.
Yeah, I think this is a great conduit for us. Not only just to share, but it's so practical. Like people are like, stay at home, stay at home. The government's like, stay at home. We're doing that for you. We're staying at home, but we felt it was necessary, and it's a resource that many people can kind of just come together and just realize that you're not in this alone. That we are all going through this. Now, everyone has a different occupation, right? Like our jobs and our industries and what our lives look like. The people that we take care of, that are dependent upon us and our income. Um, I just it blows my mind, man. Like you look at 2 months ago, and we lived our lives as if none of this were to ever happen. And you go out,
Definitely not washing my hands as much
n-
as I do now.
dude. But that's the thing, right? Like we should still wash our hands. Like wash your friggin' hands. But it just it puts us in a weird space, man. Like seeing the Vegas Strip, just it's a ghost town. Like there's no one there, and that's insane to me.
I've been seeing posts of the venues empty, and I just know that's a weird feeling. I know every day I go to the venues and they're empty when we don't have a show, but it's just very weird to see that. Chicago, they had a drone flying over the streets,
Mhm.
no one on them. That's a weird thing to see. New York, have you seen the videos when they're walking through the streets and there's no cars in New York City?
Yep,
That's a wild thing to see.
it's insane. And even New York now, there's different like boroughs and stuff where there's still people, which is insane to me to this day, are still congregating and still have social circles. And like the government's like yelling at them like, don't do this. Like we're not supposed to be outside. You're supposed to be at home, remain home, social distancing, blah blah blah. I get it. I totally get it. But it's like some people like, I don't care. Or just certain people will be affected by this. I won't, which is weird to me because even with this virus, and just from anecdotal just little hits here and there, people that have this virus, they have different symptoms, or might not even have a symptom, but just might be like a host to carry it to someone, and then that person might have something, which is really weird to me. Is that there's different, there's different factors that even if you have it, it's different.
Yeah. I mean, our great state of Florida isn't one to be following the rules. I know, for those of you who don't know, I live in Orlando, and Anthony, who would say he doesn't live in Miami because he doesn't, but he
I
lives
don't
down
live in
south.
Miami. That's right. Dude, he's got it right.
um, but, we have so many news articles of people going to the beaches and, our governor hasn't shut down the beaches. And it's interesting to see people's level of care. And then when it becomes closer to home, it's like, oh no, we should have been doing this already. Um, so
It's insane to me how many people are actually just abiding by everything and are truly just keeping away as much as they possibly can. You think what? 320 million people in the United, about that much, like maybe give or take a couple
yeah,
million.
I think that's right.
It's about right. Yeah, we can even look it up. No, it doesn't matter. But the point of it is like how many people are on board or just have a willingness to like if this is what I need to do to contribute, like just to keep away from other people, like that's huge. Um, but even me, like at this point in time, little cabin fever, just not having the ability to go out and do the things that I want to, or have to be conscious that if I do go out, like, is this for essential needs? Like, do I really need to go out right now? It's interesting to me.
Yeah,
I don't.
I mean, I know that people have been posting memes of like, your grandparents got asked to go to the Vietnam War or go to war or whatever, and all you're being asked to do is stay home. And I'm like, I can get on board with
Right.
that. I think a lot of people are realizing their lifestyle also is self isolation.
Yeah.
They're like, wait, there's a name for it because that's what I do all the time.
Yeah.
My fiance and I watch movies. That's what when we come home from work, we just watch movies. That's what we do. And now everyone's doing that, and it's just like, oh, so we were already on board. Oh, got it.
Exactly. So you're already keeping enough social distance. Do you in your day-to-day life, like when was it told by you that you had to be home? That like they're keeping you at home from work? Like
So
when did they tell you that?
so I it's a weird, complicated thing. So I work for a venue, and that venue is managed by the city. So I, as a government employee, was told to hang on working. Um, and then we were seeing the gears turn of getting us ready to work from home.
Yeah.
Um, the problem is that a lot of our events are being postponed across the whole industry. I don't think we have any events for the next few months. Um, or if they are, a tour is postponing their whole tour because they have dates that they're canceling now. So it's really, even though I am working from home, it's like, what am I working on? So we're finding projects to do, and I'm so grateful that I haven't lost my job, but a lot of my coworkers have, part-time people, our partners are letting their staff go, or at least furloughing them for now. But yeah, I got told to work from home. I'd say about 2 weeks into it, but it was just about when everyone started doing I think Washington had had to put down the lockdown, and then we kind of slowly followed suit. But I think we were one of the first counties, at least in Florida, to really get on board um, with that process.
Yeah.
It's definitely a weird thing, trying to connect to servers at work from your home.
Hmm.
Everyone now we're having daily, meetings online, which, is really cool. I actually think it's gonna be hard to go back to working at the office. You're so
Right.
used to being able to get up from your desk and like go to your kitchen and make food.
Yeah.
Um, I think it's gonna be kind of like another adjustment to go back to work.
Right. At least in the industry that you work at and like what you do specifically, I think a lot of the work that you can do, not everything, but a lot of it, like it can be done at home. Like as long as you have, a working internet connection, your computer, access to all of the things and content that you need, you're able to do your job.
Yeah.
Which is very different from what I do, which requires me to be around people. And what was weird for us, especially, obviously, if you don't know by now, and I hope you do, kind of like how the start of this and the spread of it came to the United States. A lot of our stores that we had opened up in China, the way in which this kind of started, because us, being a global brand, it's like you have different stores in different countries, and those regional stores they operate differently. From like a government perspective to just all of that. There's a lot of different things that fall under that bracket. So when they started experiencing this, like they didn't close the stores at first, but they would limit customers, and it got to a point where I'm not even kidding. Every employee would have N95 masks, all nitrile gloves, and every customer that entered the store, like their temperature would be checked at the door prior to them entering the store. If
Was
their
this in
temperature,
China?
China. This is where
Got
it
it.
started in China, and I believe even now to this day, today is April 1st. They even have this today. So there's some stores. supposedly that are still that are reopened and that are functioning normally, but the criteria or like the screening process to allow customers into the store is to make sure their temperature's checked, make sure that the employees are safe and sanitized, and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
So for us, it was a little bit different because we knew that at some point this would make its way over. Like seeing the spread of it, like one of the big hotspots at first was China. Then we moved to like South Korea. Then Italy had a lot of cases, and at some point we knew that this is spreading, like east or west. It's moving. And for us, we had to take preventative measures to like say, how do we show kind of the customer base here, especially in South Florida, more specifically where I'm at, a lot of elderly population, a lot of elderly that are in our store. So a lot of the customer questions were related to, how are you guys like keeping safe? So all of these preventative measures that we're going through, needless to say, people were getting worried, and seeing more and more stores close and just different industries, even the food industry. Like my aunt works in the food industry, and just seeing how all of these industries are being impacted and whether they're keeping hold of their employees, or not, it's interesting to me. And just think about a few months ago, like it's if none of this ever happened. Like, we're just living a new life. It's 2020, dude. Like clear vision, right? And it's not. And
Yeah,
I
it's
and
taking you
I
back to 2018 or something, right?
right. And I always think it's funny. And I whenever it's New Year's Eve and you're in December and you're like, this, you reflect and you think about the year, you think about all the tragedies, you think about all the good things that happened, all the opportunities that like you opened yourself up to, and you think about what's next year going to be like. And I feel like every year, like it's just the Annie's just upped a little bit more. Like last year was this, and now this year's like, big thing is like coronavirus. We had
It's
Kobe Bryant in
exhausting.
January. It's a lot, and then it just makes you think. It's like, what's next year gonna be like? And
Can we get a
obviously,
break, please? Like,
right, or like, can I at least just get like a little crystal ball, look into it? Just let me see what it looks like for a little bit, just so I know what I'm getting myself into, not to just throw myself to the wayside. Obviously, we don't live our lives like that, but I think in this case, we deserve a break today.
we
Um,
really do.
we really do.
Anxiety is through the roof. It's crazy. People don't know, what to expect. They're tomorrow. Like, everyone's scared. If I step outside my house to go get groceries, am I gonna get sick? Am I gonna die? Am I gonna lose my job?
Yeah,
Am I gonna be able to retire? It's endless of fears,
yeah,
and it's just really refreshing sometimes to just relax and like ignore the problems and like play Animal Crossing, or
yeah.
yeah,
Make a new show, do a
like
puzzle.
memes or Netflix, yeah, just to
Yeah,
escape. I think
absolutely.
it's really important right now. People are trying to escape from the reality a little bit.
I agree.
I think that's fair. It's a lot.
But look into the silver lining. I think there's a lot of good and bad, right? When you think of the situation, you think about where you're at this point in time. My takeaways, a lot of it has been the ability to rest, like mentally just reset and not have to go into work every day. Even though at this point, a little cabin fever, like I want to be productive, I want to do something. um, Getting the ability to rest is like one of the biggest things for me. Second, I think you have the chance to those creative outlets that you desire and like, oh, I wish I had more time to do this, or I wish I could clean out my room or start a new show or do this. You don't have an excuse right now. So your ability to do this, like there's no better time. I have two or three friends that just got puppies recently. I'm like, you've picked like the best time to get a dog because you're with the dog 24/7. Dude, when I had
Yes.
Margot, when I lived in Orlando, I have a French bulldog, by the way, for anyone that doesn't know, but if you do know, she's cute. You know it. Um, Dude, I would go to work. I'd have class in the morning. We'd have like 2, 3 hours. I'd come home and then I'd have to go to work. And I'd kept her at home, and I felt so bad because she was a puppy. I'm graduating that year, and I had a new puppy. And I thought about it like I wish I had some more time. So these friends that have a new dog, they're like, yeah, I got all the time. Taught like three new
Bond.
tricks, bonding, walking around, like just spending quality time, which is great. So whatever that outlet is for you, like I highly recommend to explore it further.
And I do sympathize with people who have time because they lost their job, right? So that's a
Yeah,
pretty scary thing. Like, how am I going to pay my bills? But you do have time, and that's, I personally have time, even though I'm still getting paid and I still have to work. But it is, time is your biggest asset, and you know, what are you going to do with it?
all right. Let me ask you a question. What do you think about the stimulus check? This 2.2 trillion. What do you think about it?
You
Just
know,
a question. Your take.
Um, I definitely know we need something. I just hate seeing that much money go out the government's door, you know? It's like it
Yeah.
just it's a lot of money, man. It's a lot of money going to I'm not involved in I haven't read the 800-page document. I don't know how things are going to be worked, but it's scary to know that the government is giving out taxpayer money and, you know, some of it's a grant, some of it's a loan, but like uh that's a lot of money, right? As if you Google
Right.
like the full on debt of the United States, it's like
Right.
wow, that's a lot of money if you put it in perspective of our national debt, right?
Dude, just print out more money.
Right.
It just works that
Isn't that
way.
how it
Just
works?
print out more
The
money.
Fed's like, "Listen, we're gonna keep doing this until the stock market goes up. Don't worry, we're just gonna keep we got
Just keep printing
unlimited
money. That's
money,
it.
unlimited. You want negative interest rates? We got you." I mean,
Yeah.
the $1,200 is nice, but, like, you can't what are you gonna do with $1,200? Pay your next, rent, but, you know
But that's the thing for a lot of people. It's like getting it. But I think one of the reasons why I wanted to talk about this was that there is just the time in which you get this money. It kind of, and this is going straight off of just what was told from the government just to us in terms of how long we receive this. And for us, it was maybe 2 3 weeks. 2 3 weeks is what we were looking at. But yeah, I don't know how long that'll be.
Yeah, supposedly it's gonna be 3 weeks from the time of this recording. Um, um best case scenario. So I'm thinking it's gonna be longer than 3 weeks. So it's like, okay, we're gonna give you $1,200, which for a lot of people is a lot. For a lot of people, it's not a lot. And then you have to wait a whole month for you to get that. So like,
Right.
good luck paying your bills, right?
But that's the thing, right? It's like a timeliness thing. It's like we're creating the stimulus pack and we're sending this money, but like the intent is to like send it out in time. So if people are like going to be late on their payment or like missing a bill, like that they're there to make it on time. So my concern is like you're sending this money out and if it doesn't get to people in time and like if they've like faulted on something or you've missed a payment and now this affects you in this way or your landlord doesn't want to hear the excuses, it's like it's a trickle down system. It's like who gets screwed over in the
Yeah,
end.
I have heard that
um
they're doing something. I did not read the article, but I did see something about, um, mortgage assistance for people who are renting out their properties. There's something for renters or people who own properties and rent them out. I'm just not sure 100% what that is. Um, so
mhm.
maybe we can read up on that for the next episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a lot. What else? The
Yeah.
airlines. Like I get that they're not running, and I get that everyone needs to have airlines to have businesses function. Well, that's a
Mhm.
lot of money, And then like I think like one of the airline companies, and I don't want to say the wrong company because I don't want to, you know, tear anyone down. But I'm pretty sure one of them was
Mhm.
like, "No, actually, we don't want the money because we don't want you having a stake in the government." I think I tweeted something. It was like the Shark Tank.
Jeez.
Hey sharks, I'm looking for a $2 trillion investment for 0%. Like for a 0% equity stake in my business. It's just like,
Oh my god,
come
dude.
on. I don't know. It's oh, we need the money, but not that much. I know
No, I
I get
totally.
it that the businesses need it, but we're expected to have 3 month savings. Why aren't businesses? I don't. That's the thing that gets me every time.
Right. I think average like means of like, and this is like a statistical average. I could try to pull it up here, but like the amount of like money that people have like in terms of like flexibility money is like maybe like 400 to five
Yeah, I
hundred
read something
dollars.
similar. You
Like,
have like people have
yeah,
a hard time. Most people have a hard time paying a $400 unexpected payment, right? And that's
right.
like that's crazy.
And we're way past that. We're like a month out of no work. So imagine those individuals that like had a job that now no longer have a job or on
Yeah,
furlough, and you don't have a source of income and you have bills and fixed expenses that have to be paid. And if they're not paid, you get screwed over for it.
I
I was also, yeah, I thought of that and I just like it blows my mind.
I was just gonna say that the good news is, if there is good news for that, is you're not alone if you're in that boat because there are 3 million people applying for unemployment last week. If
It's
if
in
if that
3 million. Think of that. Think of that. It's probably more to this
oh
than
and
now. If like there's a little ticker
yeah,
around really fast, it's probably more
the
than
other
that.
thing is I know that the websites have been crashing because they can't handle the amount of people applying. So that's probably even a
Yep.
lighter amount of people than have actually tried applying.
Mhm.
Um, So you're definitely not alone in this. I mean, everyone. I got to shout out my local Jason's Deli because I walked in there the other day to get my baked potato, and they were like, "Thank you." I mean, I bought a baked potato, and they're like, "Thank you so much for coming in here today and like buy this from us." Like we had to furlough like 90% of our staff. Um, yesterday we did $500 in sales, and normally
Jesus
we did
Christ.
$4,000 in sales. So I don't. It's really he's like it breaks my heart, and I almost like was wanted to cry. I was like, these poor guys, they care about their family-owned, relatively speaking, businesses. They care about
Right.
their staff, and what are they gonna do? Uh,
There's nothing
the
you can
mom and
do.
pop places are really gonna get screwed the most, and that's just the saddest part of it for me. You know.
Yep. Like I'm sure we've had this conversation off the podcast 100%, but the idea of like brick and mortar stores, like the slow decline in them just with like foot traffic in places and the strong push for like online sales of things like Amazon,
Yeah,
top of the food chain,
Amazon
cream
can't
of the
even do
crop.
2-day free shipping right now. That is truly
Yeah,
the
I
end
know.
of the world.
That's weird, right? Like you go and you hover over that buy now button and you're like expected deliveries in 2 weeks. Like what?
How am I supposed to get my, that is
Like
the part that's people are getting adjusted to the most, I think.
right, dude, it's a shock. It's like 2 weeks. I'm like, where's my
Don't we
2 day?
for
We've become so
mm, yeah,
spoiled by it. It's insane. It's truly
yeah,
insane.
but I mean, in Orlando, we can get things the same day where it's like if I
Yeah.
ordered something at midnight and they're like,
Did a drone drop it off?
not yet, but it literally it
Mm,
got dropped off at 2 p.m. I ordered something at 12 p.m. midnight and it got to my house at 2 p.m. That is
you probably have a distribution
Oh no, we
facility near
definitely
you.
do. But it's still crazy, right? It's like
Oh,
there was a
100%.
time recently where I forget what caused it, but I remember golf cart driving down my street delivering Amazon packages. People
Mhm.
are
A
Yeah,
golf
like I guess
cart?
people can freelance working for Amazon delivering packages, so they just I don't know if they had a truck centrally located and then they just used the golf cart to deliver packages, but swear there was a golf cart dropping off my packages at my house. Like I thought it was somebody was trying to mess with me at first.
That's so funny. I always see those Amazon vans now. They got those cool little Mercedes Benz like
Yeah,
vans.
shout out to the delivery people because they're keeping this country going right now. I know people hoarding their stuff right as this was getting going. People afraid of the lockdown, buying all the toilet paper and stuff, and wouldn't you know it, like a week later,
We're gonna
my Publix
yeah,
has everything restocked pretty much. So we couldn't. I think things would be even worse if our supply chain was crippled. So thankfully, it's
no, I agree.
not right now. Um, but yeah, there's something uncomfortable about thinking that you can't get something from the store, right?
100%. All right, well, I want to talk about toilet paper. That's like what I want to talk about right now. But before I do, I'm just thinking of the amount of doomsday preppers that we have in this country.
There,
Not only am I thinking of these doomsday preppers, I'm thinking about the look on their faces when all of this is going on and they look at everyone like, I told you so. I'm ready. I've been ready. And then we look like the weird ones like, oh shit, they were right this whole time. What do you mean? Like that's what gets me every time.
yeah.
It's like thinking of these doomsday
The
preppers.
problem is they have their bug out bags, but now they need a bug in bag, right? And I wonder how
Yep.
many people have like gone to their bomb shelter to like write out the 2 weeks, and then they realize it's a month now, and they have to go back outside their bomb shelter to resupply their bomb shelter,
Damn it. But at least they were ahead of the
right?
curve, right? Like they didn't have that initial influx of, oh, we gotta get all this
Yeah.
stuff. Why toilet paper?
You
Why?
know, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe people are afraid that they're not going to be able to go buy things, and people don't have a supply of people are constantly going to the
But
bathroom,
why
right?
toilet paper? I get that. I totally understand. I totally understand the idea of running out of things, but like toilet paper specifically, why?
Yeah, I got nothing.
Like, here's what my thought. It can be morbid. Like you can think of whatever you want, but if you're out of toilet paper, like there are many other things you can use to wipe your ass.
But you can't put them down the toilet.
No, you can't. Like if it's like like an old T-shirt or
Get in the
like
shower if all if you know.
dude, I was literally like I know it sounds bad, but you can do it. You can like take a shower.
And all of our listeners are gone now.
They're totally not. No, it's a true thing. Like, if you run out of toilet paper, this is the things that you have to
Yeah.
resort to, or people that don't have the access to toilet paper. My thought is, like, if you have an individual that doesn't have toilet paper, it's like, what do you do? It's like, I mean, you have options, like, you have to go through the most non-ideal
Yeah.
option, and, I mean, you're not going to die by not having toilet paper.
Yeah, but if I guess the thing is, if I can purchase the comfort of having toilet paper, let me get it.
Right. And that also brings me back to the question of why is it that paper products or like the things that are in like short supply or people are like running to the shelves to get? Is it like in fear? Like have we just like kind of throw a dart at the board? Like this is the product that we're gonna like make sure we take all of it.
I feel like
Because there's people that do that,
Yeah, I
100%.
feel like some people don't really pay attention to their toilet paper supply, and then when they hear people are taking toilet paper, they realize that they don't have toilet paper, and it kind of creates its own monster, where people want to feel comfortable. I was reading something. It was saying, when we can't control a lot of what's going on, we want to try to control something that we can, and something we can control is how much toilet paper we have. Like I want to feel comfortable that I have enough toilet paper. I have enough
Right.
potatoes to eat. I have my coffee creamer. Like I want to be in control of what
Yeah.
I can possess to make me feel comfortable
Mhm.
because I can't control whether I get coronavirus or not. You know what I mean?
The preventative measures, right? I get what you're saying. Yeah, and at this point in time, like there's a lot that we just don't have control over. We're listening to like federal and government officials, like you need to do this, you shouldn't do that. So having a sense of control in your life during this time, it's crucial. It's crucial for you to feel like a normal person.
Yeah.
So I guess that's what they resort to. But here's my thinking: if you have stock in toilet paper, like if you have stock in Procter and Gamble right now, you are flying high, my friend.
But you're not.
Oh my god.
The market right now is absolutely turbulent. Um,
Yeah.
I personally have retirement stock in my 401k, and then I also have some fund stocks. And every day I look at it, and which you definitely should not be doing. If you're not
Yeah,
trying
don't
to
do it.
trade every day, like do not look at the stock market because in one day it goes like up 5% and down 10% and then back to zero, and you know what I mean. It is
Yep.
absolutely ridiculously volatile. And I know we kept hearing the stock market was shutting down as it started getting up and going. If it moves more than 7% up or down, the stock market turns off for 15 minutes to kind of let the
Mhm.
emotions relax. And that happened a lot. It's it's a it's a crazy time. You look at the news and the news is saying unemployment is at 3 million, record, like it's a stupid record of how much unemployment there is right now. And then the stocks go up that day. And then we say stimulus package is coming out and the stocks go down. Like, I do not understand what's going on, nor do I think I ever will understand what's going on. You just gotta take a deep breath.
You just gotta ride yeah, you gotta ride the wave. You really gotta
Like
ride the
either
wave.
your philosophy is the market's gonna keep going down for now, or it's gonna go up in the long term. Just depends on your timeline, and you just gotta stick to that
Mhm.
and just relax and stop looking at the moments. Because if you do, you gotta look at the macro because the micro is insane.
Right. I've gotten to a point now when it comes to news, just kind of like just muting a lot of it. Like, I think in the morning, like, I'll start my day and, like, I give it maybe 10, 15 minutes max of my time to, like, just absorb, like, what's going on, if there's new information, if there's, like, new just instructions that are given out, and then after that, I kind of turn it off. You have so much anxiety and like buildup of like this is all that you're getting. This is a pandemic. This is like there's no point in time where you're like, oh, today was like a good day in the news. It's like just more of the same. So why do you just keep like you just keep reinstilling it?
Yeah, I've been struggling with this myself, honestly, Anthony. Because I've been seeing things like stop watching the Trump updates, stop doing this, or just listen to this or listen to this, and then the fake news, and then that, and then mainstream, and then dit. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
there's so much back and forth about whether you should listen to the news or not, and it's something I'm struggling with because I like to be updated. I want to know exactly what's going on. I think things are changing so quickly that you should be staying on top of it. You don't have a week to happen to hear the news that you missed on Monday, on Wednesday, and still have time to like be aware of it, right? So everything is changing day to day. even though it
Right.
might not be changing much, relatively speaking, or might not be changing in some way that you can control it. But for me, it's like I want to stay up to date. I want to know exactly what's going on. I want to know how close it's getting or how intense it's getting. But at the same time, I can't control a lot of it, right? I can't. I mean,
Yeah, it's true. Like you have to just sit there and watch.
knowing that it's going to be 100,000 versus 200,000 versus 20,000 that are going to die, possibly, do I need to know that every day? Do I need to know the updates? Is that critical to me to know? I think
Yeah,
it's important to
it's
instill this severity of this and like the seriousness of it so that people will, you know, self isolate, stay 6 feet away. Um,
mhm.
but I don't think you need to have every news article every day. I think we just need to get the highlights, you know?
Yeah, or like at night, kind of like have like, hey, like this is like the briefing of like when went on today. Like give me like the Spark Note version per day of like here's the big things that happen.
Right.
Like you'll have one person that goes off and just like talks about like like this industry or like how this part of the world is being affected by it. It's like I think it's important. I don't think what I want to just reiterate and say is that I don't think it's necessary to like not show that stuff because obviously there are people that are interested. Like maybe it's an industry or something that affects you directly, so you want to know about it. I just think that for us as individuals, like that are taking the time to absorb this information, is to like just be conscious of how much you're just indulging all of this because like the viewership of like I need to stay on this 24/7. I need to make sure if like there's like any sort of like hiccup, like I hear about it. For my mental state and for me to be able to get through this better is to not drown myself in all of the news and constantly in contact with the media, whether it's like online for social media or if it's literally watching it on television. Um, I think a little goes a long way in
Is
that
that how
sense.
you're getting your news? Is like Twitter and like
I'll,
TV
I'll,
or
I'll look at like Twitter. Right. I'll do Twitter. I think Twitter is like just it's my favorite social media in my opinion. Twitter is just it's straight to the point, and I get like I get like the SparkNote version, and even better, I get it in text, so I can read it. It takes me 2 seconds to read. Great, I'm more knowledgeable. If I want to know more about it, great. I got a link to click on. I can delve into it more if I want to.
yeah.
But for my sense, I kind of limit it, man. I don't put a lot of time into it because I know for me it's like it's not good. It doesn't help me. Like I'm trying to do my part and make sure that I'm listening, following the rules, not going to parks to play basketball, like everything that I need to do, I'm trying my best to do so. But, everyone's
Well,
different.
that's an interesting note that you made about going out, right? So, here in Orlando, they're asking you to stay indoors as much as you can unless it's necessary, right? Stay in your own home, but you're totally okay to go outside and walk within your family unit as long as you're 6 feet away from everyone else, essentially, right?
Right.
Um, so the funny thing is, I live near a park and I'm driving by it and I see people using the workout equipment along the park path
Mhm.
and in big groups, right? So there's like 10 people using the pull up bar.
Jesus
And I'm just
Christ.
thinking to myself, do you not understand how many people have touched that pull up bar? And I guarantee you no one's cleaning it. So, so
Right, I was gonna say, like, are they cleaning
no,
it? Like,
no, there's
no?
definitely no
Okay.
one with wipes over there, you know?
Great,
So I
great. This is
get that you
great.
need to work out, but like, you're not invincible, right? It doesn't matter how big or small you are, right? It's gonna affect you. I mean, you might be better off with a healthy immune system versus not. But don't be overly confident about what you can and can't do. I recommend just walk, right? Everyone. That is one thing that I have noticed that is really positive. I have seen
I think a
so
lot more
many
people are outside more.
exactly. I have seen so many people
Yep.
outside, and it's like people are so tired of being indoors now. They're so tired of like playing on their phones. They want to get outside and want to enjoy the fresh air.
Mhm.
And thankfully, it's springtime here in Florida, so it is nice outside. It's not cold. It's not rainy um, yet, so it is nice and to see people going outside. And we've been seeing some articles about pollution going down. All the warehouses shut down in China. People had like clear skies for the first time in forever. Did you
Yep.
see that?
Like the pictures, like the ozone and stuff like that, like how it
Yeah,
looks. I
yeah,
saw
the
like a pic.
smog, how it's going away,
Mhm.
dissipating.
Yep.
Um, I know that's more like the sediment settling in Italy, but the canals in Italy like are clear for the first time. Some old lady was like, "I have never seen the canals clear before, the water clear."
Yeah, that's weird.
I hope that we can use this as an opportunity to kind of like get a reset and try a fresh start. Uh,
Yeah, I tell you, it's a wake up call for sure. Like in any way that you put it, like this for us, it's a real indicator of like to show like how like ill prepared we are for certain things to happen, and like how quickly we need to jump on something like when a pandemic like this occurs, because like we've never had to like live through this. Like I remember, I think what was the last big thing we had? It was like H1N1. It was like swine flu, right? That was like the the big thing before
yeah, but
this
I don't
that
think
we
I don't think it was.
experienced.
I don't remember. I might have been too young, but I don't remember it being this big of a thing. Right? We've never.
That's my point. That's my point. Like it wasn't as big, but it was a big deal. Like there was people that like died from the virus, but I like it. I'm just interested in knowing like what about this has made it so much different in terms of like public reaction and government initiatives to ensure that the public health and safety is like priority. Like what about this? And I think that's a lot of people's questions is why is this such a big thing? Like why are we going and taking all of these extra like preventative measures
I've
now?
seen people quoting, flu kills more people, this kills more people, or that kills more people than this. Why are we making a big deal about it? I think at first that was an argument you could have made, but it's funny how people keep shifting it, right? First it was this, and now but now heart disease kills more people, so why don't we care about heart disease enough? Like you can't do that. You can't not care about something and then, also argue that you shouldn't care about this as well, right? You should be caring about
Right.
car
It's
accident deaths every day. And no, we don't do enough about it. You're right. We should. Right now, this is an acute issue with like you could literally say it's an acute um condition of the United States right now that we have to solve. You can
yeah.
see the um the transmission rates on this are significantly higher than most of our other viruses that we deal with as a society. I mean, I think we're even seeing it right now in the United States as of April 1st, right? So they're predicting 240,000 people are going to die of this now in the United States. And that was from the government, like the presidential team saying that. And that's a scary thing to think about. So yeah, it doesn't feel like it at first, right? When people were like, "Oh, it's not a big deal." They were trying to show that it was, and I just don't think the message was communicated clearly to some people. And now they can see the reality of that, and I think it might be hitting home a little bit more, right? When when your
Yeah.
neighbor gets sick, now it makes it a real thing versus someone on the news who gets sick in another state, right?
Right. Like this is real now.
Every state has a case at least right now. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, I think it was like West Virginia, all the people out in the woods just like chilling. They're like, ah, no, no, we're fine. And then they finally
It's like hell
got
yeah,
they,
brother.
they finally got it, and it was like, okay, now it's a serious.
It's like okay, now it's real, right? Like it's got to go to Montana or just like stay safe, right? It's like 200,000 people that live in the state. I'm sure it's more, but point of it being is like highly densely populated areas are really
Yeah, I saw some news article that was saying, oh, it's affecting blue states more than it is red states, and I was
oh
thinking to
my
myself, wait,
god,
what?
dude.
Like how? I mean, stereotypically, more condensed urban cities are blue leaning, right? If you're going to be political about it, like the more populated cities are typically blue, and then the less populated cities are typically red. So yeah, of course, blue territories, if you're going to call it that, are going to be hit first because they're stereotypically more condensed, populated places like New York City, right? So for you to put a political spin on that, that got to me. I was like, this is totally inappropriate
I I,
to be talking about.
I don't think. No, I get what you're saying. I don't think it's like a like this is what it is. I think there's a high correlation between the two, but I don't like.
You're not going to try to
It's
make a
like oh,
political game out of this, right? It's
right, but there's obviously people that are, and it's disgusting, dude. Like there's just I think at any point in time, like if you have the chance to just kind of like remove like these political barriers and just like be human with someone else, like I, I don't know. I just think it's like time and place for everything, right? And I think at this point, we don't need that. Like who needs that right now? Like how has that helped me or you?
yeah, it doesn't. It just
Like
creates
it doesn't.
animosity towards people. and it creates
Yep.
tension and conflict where it doesn't need to be existing, I think this is the best time for us to try to come together as a country. And I would love to see that,
Yeah.
you know? I think, talking about how we can be helpful, um, I know that people have been sharing ways to help, making contributions. I made a donation to my local theater company because theater has a special place in my heart. And, to know that if our industry, as a whole is hurting, I know the local theaters are hurting even more. Right. So I just made a little
Hmm.
donation there. I sent a box of food. I know that there's a lot of like food delivery companies like, not Instacart, but they ship a box of food to your house, right? So Feeding
Right.
Children Everywhere, for example, has that where I sent a box to my brother who was self isolated in his home in Washington before I was. So I sent a box of food there, and I sent a box of food to another family member who I knew was having a hard time getting out into the stores. So I mean, just little things like that. Buy a
That's
gift
awesome,
card
dude.
for your local, locally owned food place. Um,
Yeah. I think for individuals that have like the means like to help others, like for us that are like still employed,
yeah.
like if you have a job and like I think now more than ever, and like it's something that I need to do as well to look and like help someone else out, like in any way possible. Like if it's food for someone else, like if it's like an essential item, like if it's toilet paper or whatever, like trying to find someone to help. I think that's it's
No,
critical.
I totally agree. Critical was the exact word I was going to use. I mean, you can even start. I mean, I would even start with my neighbors, just like saying hi to them,
Yep.
making sure they're okay. I know I barely talk to my neighbors, and you know, I'm outside more now. If you see him, say hi. Like, how are you doing?
Yep.
Do you need anything? I'm
Yep.
here for you if you need it. We can stay 6 feet away, but like, what do you need? I think that is the easiest thing.
Right.
If you don't have money, you can give time, um, and I think that we need to be doing
Yeah.
that. Just showing love, like you know,
Yeah,
showing
I had
company.
an instance the other day, two instances. My next door neighbor. I live in a townhouse, but my immediate next door neighbor, before we went out to go food shopping, like, they were standing out on their porch, we're on our porch. We like yelled out to them, like, "Hey, do you guys need anything from the store? Like, we're going there. Like, we will get you something if you need to." So I have to put them, quote unquote, in harm's way, right? Like if they're, they're a little bit older. So like the concern, obviously, putting older people in social situations that, might not be the best right now. A little bit there, a little bit of help there. I went with my mother. We went to went to Publix, and surprisingly, we had like there was like some toilet paper and there was paper towels, and we grabbed a roll of it. It was like a 6 or a 10 pack roll of toilet paper, whatever. And she picked up one, and she's like, "Hey, do you want to pick up one too?" I'm like, "I mean, we have toilet paper at home. You just picked up a 6 or 10 roll. Like, no, I'll leave it here. Like, let someone else try to grab it." Um, and even though it was like very minimal, like I was just hyper aware of I would say like my contributions. I didn't contribute. I decided to not take it to hopefully, give someone else the chance to maybe get it for their family that they really need
Yeah,
it.
it's not
So,
being greedy. You know.
yeah, just like we're all in this together, and we think of like our country and the people that live here and that operate daily, like we're on one team. Like, why wouldn't you want everyone on your team to succeed? Like, why would you want to have someone on your team that isn't doing well? It's like a shitty player. You wouldn't want that. You'd want to build that person up to make them just as good as you, so you have a well-rounded, great
Yeah,
team, right?
absolutely.
So I don't know, man. I think we should do on others, and that's kind of it, man. Just help people out. Why not help people out?
Yeah, I think that is a good note to end this episode on, Anthony. Um,
Yeah.
we have a lot more coming, so we gotta save some of the good stuff. I just hope that
Oh
people
yeah.
find this. I hope that people are happy to let us into their day a little bit. I know
Yeah, I
I
agree,
appreciate
man.
talking about it with you, and
Always, brother.
so thank you for tuning into the show. We'll be back with more content very, very soon. Make sure to follow us on social, which will be in the description of the podcast. We're totally ready to chat with you. If you want to just talk, if you're bored at home, we're there. We're ready to chat back.
Again, we'd love to highlight your stories. We want to know and hear from you guys just to know how this virus is impacting you at home. Tell us, share it with us. You can email us. Our email is 6feetawaypodcast@gmail.com. That's SIXFEET away podcast at gmail.com. Guys, stay safe. wash your hands, and just keep 6 feet away.